Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hello, I'm your host, Mrs. M. And if you haven't, make sure you click the link below. That way you can subscribe to my channel and not miss out on anything you need to scale your cleaning business to six figures and beyond. Pow! Are you totally confused with Sam.Gov? So if you don't understand what is validation, why are you having to go through all of that just to renew it when you've already been in Sam.gov? Or if you have been already validated, but then it's time to get the cage code and there's a problem. I am going to explain each one of those with the most frequently asked questions that we actually receive about Sam.gov. And this is the month, I can't emphasize it the most. This month is one of the biggest months for winning government contracts in our industry, which is facilities 561-720 or 561-210. Both of those are really, really big when it comes to winning government contracts in the month of September. Now, at the last week of September, there's even more one because remember, we're in the use or lose. So if you've ever wanted to know some of the most frequently asked questions, stay tuned because in this video, I'm going to give it to you. You ready? Let's go. Now I'm going to read my little handy dandy sheet here because I want to make sure I don't miss anything. The first thing is, what is the purpose of Sam.gov? It is required for any entity that is looking to do business with the federal government to be registered in Sam.gov. Now, login.gov is the page you go to create your email to then go on to register with Sam.gov. Now, if you've ever looked under, for those of you that want to know how much you're going to get paid for Social Security and all of that, if you go to login.gov, you're going to have an account. If you're doing anything with the federal government, that's like the gateway into it. But for Sam.gov, just know that if you're looking to secure any federal funding, or if you're looking to do business with the government as far as bidding on federal government contracts, whether you're a nonprofit or profit, any of those, you have to get a Sam.gov. Now, Sam.gov, this is one of the new ones, the new thing with Sam.gov. Sam.gov actually uses this thing called Entity Validation Service. It's called EVS to independently verify the existence of our entities. So they have this company, just like they used to have with D&B, Dun & Bradstreet. The new process that happened after April the 4th, 2022 is with the service that they call Entity Validation Service, EVS. And that's what they're using to validate our entities. Now, what is required that you need a validation? Who and what? So in order to register your entity, and you're going to need it for the following reasons. What am I going to have to go through that for? Well, number one, you're going to need it to register your company in Sam.gov. That's number one. Number two, you're going to need this to renew your validation. So every year, if you were already registered in SAMS and you're looking to renew it, you have to use this to renew. Okay, so you have to go to Sam.gov, go through that whole process of the renewal. Number three, you're going to need it to get your UEI. Now, some people just want their UEI, unique entity identifier, but they don't want to complete the registration for SAMS. They don't need to. So that's where a lot of the confusion comes in, where, okay, I only need the UEI. Some people only need their UEI because maybe they're looking to do something. Sometimes when you're looking for contracts under GSA, you don't need to be completely registered. Sometimes you do. I would go ahead and look at being registered anyway, but there are some incidences where you don't have to get the complete registration. You only need your UEI. But if you're looking to update, you want to register your business completely. If you're looking to renew it, or if you are looking to get your UEI, you must. Now let's look at the rest of them. All right. So the next step is every entity must be validated with the new processors database. That's that new EVS, Entity Validation Server or Service. Every company must, even if you already were in the SAMS.gov registration. So let's say, for instance, last year. You already got your cage code, you did everything. But now it's time to renew. We have a lot of people, a lot of our clients and students that's coming up for renewal. And they want to know, do they have to go through this whole process again? Absolutely you do. If you're looking to update or renew, you have to go through the whole validation process because they do not have you in their database. This new EVS does not have you in their database. That's why you're doing all this. So what does it look like? So I'm going to give you a little step-by-step on what that looks like. Number one, it's going to say you're about to validate. Number two, you're going to enter your information. Number three, it's going to say we're searching millions of databases to find your entity. Number four, it's going to ask you to upload your corporate information. It's going to review the entity details. If it's correct, it's then going to update the entity information, confirm it. Now, it will then ask you for the documents. That's when you're going to upload your documents, your LLC, your sole proprietor, anything at this stage. This is where you're going to do that. When you go to step number 10 is when you submit the validation. When you submit the validation information, that's where it's going to come up and ask you to do an incident report. At this point, it's going to ask you to do an incident report. You've submitted your document, it could not find you. It's going to manually put it in, but it needs something to check to make sure that you are who you say you are. If it was already in the system, it would do it instantly because you're not in the system. Remember, in their system, in this EVS system, that's where all the confusion is coming in. If you've already done this before, like, why am I not in there? It's a new system. So this EVS system is looking for you and they can't find you. So now they want you to submit the documents to prove that you are who you are. This is when you're doing those incident reports that are taking quite a few days. But they're saying now it's going to take from 7 to 10 business days for this report to be reviewed once you've uploaded the documents. They're going to review the entity. At this point, they're going to send you an email telling you, we have uploaded your information, we've reviewed it, and we're ready for you to continue your SAM's registration. When you go back, that's when you're going to have your UEI, your unique entity number. So that is when you're going to actually have the UEI, the unique entity number. Okay. What happens after I've submitted my documents? Well, you're going to get your unique entity identifier number. That's what's going to happen once they've reviewed it and they've, checked over everything and you've submitted the documents. Now, let's say, for instance, you want to know, what can I do because it's taken a long time and I want to understand what's going on, or I want to add something to the incident report. You can simply go then to fpds.gov, and that's FSD, Frank, Sam, Delta.gov, and the incident report will be under My Incidents. That's where it's going to be under when you go to fsd.gov. It's going to be under My Incidents. This is where you can write in any information on your incident report. But whatever you do, do not upload any documents on that FDS. That's only going to be done through Sam.Gov, okay? Only through Sam.Gov to upload any documents. When you're looking to upload your documents, like let's say, because the whole goal is to match your address and your current business's address and the current business name and the physical address. That's what they're looking to validate. That's why you're uploading these documents. You do not want to submit a bank statement because you can put your bank statement as one of the documents, your LLC. There's several things that you can upload. It'll give you a list of the documents, but it must show the actual business name and the actual physical business address. They both have to be on this one document where they can see it, okay? If you have two documents, that's fine, but you would have to have the name, and then you have to make sure that the name and the address is on something together, because they want to be able to see them both. Now, if you have two, go ahead and try to get them both together, which could be like a bank statement, but the bank statement cannot be more than 5 years old, no more than 5 years old. You want to make sure it has the current name and address where it can be seen. Only EVS can actually validate your entity. So what is it looking for? Current name and address. You cannot use a bank statement older than 5 years. Usually what's going to really solve all this is when you register with your Secretary of State, you have your business name and the address on that document with the Secretary of State. That's what we have in all the states I pretty much have registered my businesses. Now, your UEI is going to be immediately given to you if you are already in SAM, some kind of way. Some companies are already in there. They're trying to put them in there ahead so that way you don't have to go through the manual validation. And a lot of people want to understand why then, after I've gone through all of this with getting my validation, is it taking so long to get my cage code? So when we look at our cage code, we're looking at the cage code, which is that 5-character unique identifier that the government uses to identify you as a vendor. Cage code comes differently than the UEI. That's Sam.Gov. Cage code, which is still in that whole process of registering, is within DLA, Defense Logistics Agency. They're the ones that give you the cage code. So if you are getting rejected for your cage code, you want to actually call to Sam.Gov and ask them, usually get some kind of notification saying that the cage code decided not to move forward because of, and they'll give you the reasons. But if you do not have a reason, which the last couple of students and clients have not gotten reasons why, they've just said the DLA has rejected their cage code, call immediately so you can find out, because a lot of these things are really timing is of the essence, very time sensitive government stuff. Usually they love that 3-day thing. So if you have not received it, this is what you want to do. These are the most frequently asked questions that we receive when it comes to Sam.Gov. Now, what I do is I went through these steps rather quickly, but I go point by point by point. When you do what? Come to my free workshop masterclass on registering with SAM, finding out what you need to do to get your cage code, and all of the other things that I talk about in the free workshop. Space is limited. We only take 25 people because I like to make sure that I have you on and off quickly and answer any questions. So if you're interested, make sure you click the link in the description, and also make sure that you go to the next steps, which are what? What are the next steps? Well, the next step is, of course, visiting our Facebook and signing up and registering our Facebook, and making sure that you go to our free masterclass. I'd love to see you there. So until next time, be safe and take care. Bye-bye.